Hi there, Dodge owners. Today on your 2021 Dodge Durango, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Curt's 4-pole flat trailer connector vehicle wiring harness. And this is what our wiring harness looks like when it's installed. It's ready and available here at the back of your vehicle. I like to use the dust boot here to secure it to the safety chain loop on our hitch to help keep it up from dragging the road. And our connector here is a standard 4-pole flat trailer connector. This is going to provide you with all of your necessary lighting signals, which includes your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps, which will keep you DOT compliant in all states. What I like about this 4-pole connector harness is that it does have a module that is integrated into the harness, and the module has connectors that tap in between your passenger and driver side taillight assemblies, and the connectors on the end are custom fit and designed for your vehicle here, so they'll plug directly into the factory connectors on your Durango. Those circuits that then go from those connectors go back to the module that's in our harness here, and the module monitors these circuits for any signals. If it sees tail lights or turn signals, the module will then produce those signals and send it out our 4-pole flat trailer connector. What's nice about the module producing these signals is that the module has its own dedicated power wire run to the front. So if there's any faults on your trailer, it would open the fuse for our module and not affect any of the wiring on our vehicle. Old styles where it actually just tapped in line onto your turn signal. If you had a fault on your trailer, it would take down the turn signal on your trailer as well as your light. But with something like this, we're completely protected and nothing's going to happen to our vehicle. You can then repair your trailer, replace the fuse for your module, for your harness here, and you're ready to go. Everything comes included with your kit that you need to get it installed here. So why don't you follow along with me and we'll show you how to get it installed. We'll begin our installation here at the back of the vehicle with our lift gate open. This is going to expose the fasteners that hold our taillight assemblies in place. There are 2 fasteners we're going to remove, and I recommend using a flat-bladed screwdriver. You can also use a trim panel tool. If we take a close look at these pins, there's a slot in the side that our blade will fit down in. You can see right there on the side, our screwdriver will fit right in that opening there, and we'll just take the corner of our flat blade and we're just going to get it underneath the head of the pin there. Just kind of give it a little twist until that head pops out. We can then grab it and just pull it out of there. We'll do the same thing with the other one here, and then we'll remove both pins over on the other side. Once you've got both pins removed, take the assembly and pull it straight rearward. I like using a large plastic trim tool just to help push it back, because it can be kind of difficult to get it to pop off of the pins inside, and that's these little guys right here. They poke down into those. So now that we've got this guy popped loose, we're going to disconnect the electrical connector, and we can see that right here. We'll press in on our release tab and then just pull the connector off, and then we'll just set this aside. I'm going to put it inside the vehicle. We'll do the same thing to remove the other side. Now we got our headlights out of the way, we can start to feed our harness up. The opening here is pretty large, but it's not going to be large enough that you're likely going to be able to fit your arm down in there. So to feed the wiring up to this location, you can use a fish wire. We're using airline tubing for ours, but at home, great objects you got around the house to do, it would be like a metal coat hanger you can undo and feed that down. So we're just going to take our fish wire now, we're going to poke it down the large opening here, and you can see daylight down the bottom. It's a pretty big opening, so you shouldn't have a problem poking this down. And then you can reach around the bottom here and grab your fish wire. Sometimes you got to get down there and take a look. Oh, there it is right there. So now that we've got our fish wire passed down, we'll grab our harness from our kit. We started on the passenger side here because we're going to be using the green wire with our connectors here. This plugs into our factory connector. The yellow one here is going to go over to the driver's side. That's why we have so much more length. So what we're going to do now is just take some electrical tape, and we're just going to tape it to our fish wire here that we had run down. So I'm just going to run a little bit around there. And now we'll just pull it back up. And now we've got our wire pulled up here. We can then just disconnect our wire from our pull wire. We'll then take our factory connector here, the female side, and plug it into the male side of our new harness. We can then take the female side of our new harness. And we're just going to plug this right into our taillight assembly. And then we can just snap this guy right back into place. We're now underneath the vehicle, and we're going to take the yellow wire and route it across to the other side. Here we're going to tape it to a fish wire, once again, just like we did on the passenger side, to pull the wire up. If we take a look at the back side here, we can see how we routed the wire, because we do want to avoid anything excessively hot like our exhaust. So coming off of the module, our yellow wire right here, we do go up over the bumper beam right here. The support brace will keep our wiring up above our exhaust here, keeping it from dropping down onto it. And we just go across and then once again stay above that support beam here for our bumper. And then we just drop it down and connect it to our fish wire, where we'll pull it back up. Again, this is just like we did over on the other side. Just wanted to show you how we routed the wire across, because it is important to keep it away from your exhaust, as that can melt through the harness. Once we get the vehicle back down, I'll finish pulling that one up. But it's essentially just going to go just like it did before, so we're just going to move that guy there. Then we'll head over to our module here again. Since we're down here, we might as well talk about the other two connections we've got down here. We've got a white wire with a ring terminal on it, as well as a black wire that is pre-stripped. The white wire here, we're just going to ground using the included self-tapping screw, and this black wire is our power wire we're going to run up to the front. We're going to go ahead and connect this now, because once we mount our module, these two wires are going to be a little hard to access. In your kit, you'll receive a large amount of black wire. We're going to open this up, strip back the ends so we can make the connection. So I like to strip just a little bit more off the pre-stripped black wire off our module. Find it easier to make the connection if we take a little more off. And then the wire that comes in the kit, we'll strip this as well. And then rather than using the butt connectors that come in your kit, I do highly recommend for this connection to upgrade it to a heat shrink butt connector. We have those available here at eTrailer. They're similar to the ones that come in your kit, but they will shrink down and seal up on the ends to keep out any moisture, ensuring a long-lasting connection. So we'll crimp it on this end, and then we'll take the other end of our butt connector here, go to the black wire, and crimp that on. We'll then grab our heat gun to shrink down our connector. We'll now take our ground wire with the ring terminal. I routed it over the bumper beam as well, and then we'll just run it into the flange here in the back with the included self-tapping screw. You could either do it right there, or you could even do it this way, whichever one's easier for you to fit your tool in there. We don't want to go straight up because we don't want to put any holes that enter into the cabin of our vehicle. It looks to me like the easiest way is going to be going towards the passenger side on this small little section that drops down right there. We'll just take our self-tapping screw, slide it through, and for the one that comes included with the kit, you'll use a 1/4 inch socket to run that in. We just want to make sure it's snug, so it's a little loose there. We'll now need to mount our module. We're just going to use the double-sided tape that comes included with it. There's a flat surface right here that we can mount it to, and I'm just using some isopropyl alcohol on a rag to just kind of clean up the area. That'll help us get good adhesion. We can then take our double-sided tape. We'll peel off the backing on one side, and I like to put it on the module first. So we're just going to grab our module here. You're not going to be able to move it too far from its location due to the length of the wire, so this can be a little hard to see. But we're going to be taking the tape here with the adhesive side, and we're going to put it onto the back side of our module. Can be a little bit tight up in here. Now that we've got it on the back side of our module, we're just going to peel off the backing from the other side, and then we're just going to stick it in place. We are going to try to angle our wires so they are at a slightly downward angle to help ensure that moisture can't collect and get into our module. And so this is where we're located, kind of right behind the bumper here. So now I'm going to go ahead and route my black wire. This is going to route towards your battery. Now on your Durango here, the battery is located underneath the seat on the passenger side, and it's not really an easy location to get to. But underneath the hood on the passenger side, up towards where the windshield ends, there's a spot where there's a jump start post for your positive. That post there is connected right down to the battery on the inside. It's an easy access point for battery positive. We're going to be hooking our wire directly to that. So I'm going to go ahead and route the wire now, and then I'll show you the path it took to get it there. When routing your wiring, you want to make sure you avoid anything excessively hot, like your exhaust, and any moving components, like your steering or suspension. We then took our black wire here and we routed it following our hitch here, staying to the inside of the frame. We then go up above our lines here. We stay above those as well as our rear suspension here. We're kind of right up on top. There's a factory wiring harness that's located right here. Whenever possible, I like to follow these because they're already routed in a way where they're not going to get damaged. So if we just follow that path, we know we're good to go. We stay above that rear suspension here, and then now we go around the outside of our fuel tank, and that leads us into another factory harness where we just stay along next to this harness going all the way forward. There's some small tabs that poke out of the side of the harness here. It's got a plastic cover on it, and we just zip tie it to these little plastic tabs heading on towards the front. Once we get up to the front of the harness here, we go above our bracket here, and then we actually go behind our fender liner here and then head up. And the way that I got it up in there is I used our fish wire trick just like we did in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and lower it down, and I'll show you the hole where I poked my fish wire down to be able to connect this and pull it up. So here we have our black wire pulled up here. And if we look down in this hole, right in this area here, there you can see where the wire pulls up from down below. There is an opening there. It's a fairly easy place to route your wiring. The fish wire trick in the back works really well to get this wire routed up. We'll be connecting our black wire to the battery positive to power up our unit, but we want to make sure we got a fuse in line. So we're going to grab the fuse harness that comes in our kit. It is somewhat pre-stripped. You can just pull these ends off, but I like to strip off just a little bit more than what's there. So we're going to strip back each end of our fuse harness here. And then on one end of our fuse harness, we're going to crimp on a ring terminal. This is where it's going to connect to our battery positive. And then on the other side of our fuse harness, we're going to put a butt connector. And once again, we're going to be using a heat shrink butt connector since we're outside the vehicle, exposed to the elements. Now that we've got our harness prepared, I like to hook it to the vehicle first. So we're going to grab a 13mm socket to remove the stud here. This is underneath the cover where you would jump start the battery. You can see the battery positive indicator located on the cover as well as on the outside here. So we just pull that up. We'll remove the large nut. We'll take our fuse harness that we just prepared. We're going to slide the ring terminal on the stud there and then just reinstall our nut. We can now grab our fuse harness and our black wire, and I like to trim these to length. That gives me enough excess where I can pull them up if I need to do any kind of repairs or additional accessories or anything else like that. So we're going to cut it probably about right here, and that'll give me an easy place to reach my wire but not have too much to make it messy. So we'll strip back our black wire now, and we'll crimp it to our fuse harness. And we'll once again grab our heat gun to shrink down our butt connector. Before we go any further, we had the one tail light here at the back that we hadn't plugged in yet, so we are going to run back here and just plug this in. It's no different than how it was over on the other side. We simply just plug it in, and then we can snap our assembly back into place. Just gotta line up those little tabs, and then reinsert your push pins. And at this point, all that's left is to now take the fuse that comes included with your kit and install it into the fuse harness that'll power up our system, and we can plug in a tester, or you can plug in your trailer and verify that everything's working properly. I do recommend a tester over your trailer, because in the event you do have some faults on your trailer, you can get false readings because the trailer is causing some issues. We want to make sure that we have all of our lighting signals, which includes our left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, as well as brake lamps. With all of our lighting signals working properly, we can now button up anything that we have left, zip tie up any loose ends on our wiring, and we're ready to hit the road. And that completes our installation of Curt's 4-pole flat trailer connector vehicle wiring harness on our 2021 Dodge Durango.